3 ways to get more leads fast, and of course, most importantly, how to turn them into sales. And if you don't know me, my name is Frank Kern. I'm known as the highest paid direct response internet marketing copywriter and consultant in the world. And I'm probably known as that because it says so somewhere on my website, and because I'm probably the only person in the world with that long of a job title. I'm the advisor to celebrity entrepreneurs and best-selling authors, thousands of entrepreneurs, literally, and on every continent of the planet. And really, that's enough about me. We're really not here for me. We're here for you. And quite frankly, I am exactly like you. I'm a small business owner. I have a payroll just like you. I run ads just like you. I generate leads for multiple businesses of my own, just like you do. And I have all the stuff in my business that you got in yours. All the frustrations and all the cool stuff that comes along with that as well. So this is really more of a peer-to-peer presentation than an ivory tower type of presentation. So that's enough about me. Let's talk about what we're going to do today. Okay, so let's talk about our agenda. Of course, our mission here is all about getting leads and turning them into sales. So we're going to talk about how to get leads from the internet. We're going to talk about how to get leads from the mail, which is one of my favorites because it's often underutilized, which is awesome. And we're going to talk about how to get in-store leads. These are people who are in your store or your business already, and we want to turn them into repeat customers through a process. And I'll show you a process. It's cool. And of course, we'll also talk about how to turn those leads into sales. Okay? So this webinar is significantly different. This is coming to you from the perspective of being taught by someone who is in these trenches every single day. I am just like you. I spend money on leads, and I've got employees, staff, office space, all that kind of stuff. And in fact, over the last 30 days, actually a little bit more than this, because this particular picture was taken days ago, I spent around $43,000 just on one medium, which is online advertising on Facebook. We use all types of ways to acquire leads. So this is real world stuff. Everything you see today is a real world example where real dollars are at stake. You're not going to learn any hacks or loopholes or one-trick pony type of things today. So specifically, what you're getting today is lots of case studies. An example, I'll show you how a doctor is using the internet to get local patients. I chose doctors specifically for this case study because so much internet stuff is about how to sell internet stuff on the internet. So I wanted to show you real business doing this kind of thing. I'll show you how a gym used the mail to get leads, and ultimately, very quickly, over 196 people came through the door of that gym. I'll show you how a restaurant is using a simple sheet of paper to get in-store leads for future sales. I'm also going to give you a script, an example script, where you can teach your staff exactly what to say to turn people in your store, in your place of business, into leads. And of course, I'm also going to help you create a sales system, or at least reverse engineer a good sales system, to turn your leads into sales. And I hope that you don't get too weirded out by the phrase reverse engineering there. This is not a technical webinar. So if technical stuff weirds you out or freaks you out, that's okay. It does me too. And we're not going to get very tech heavy today. I'm just going to show you cool stuff that works. And I'll do it by giving you case studies and examples from multiple industries. So here's the thing. Hopefully you got my emails right before this webinar. We've got a lot of people registered for this. And I don't know the capacity of this thing. I think it's just 1,000 people. And man, in the first couple of hours, telling everyone about today's webinar, 1,400 people registered. More and more have registered since then. So out of respect for your time, I want to tell you who this is not for. If you don't have a business at all, and you're just sort of a dabbler, I mean, you're welcome to stay here, but I really don't think this is going to do you any good. I don't mean that to be unpleasant or anything. I'm trying to politely make room for the people who can genuinely benefit from what we're talking today. If you're looking to get rich quick on the internet, this is not even in the same stratosphere as that type of stuff. This is for real business. This is for people who want to work and actually do normal things. This isn't a scheme or a trick or anything like that. We're going to talk about real business today. If you are expecting to get big results without doing any work, boy, that sounds like it would be great. I've never figured out how to do it, and I have no ability to teach you how to do it. So if that's what you're looking to do today, I can't help you. So if you're in any of those three categories, then out of respect for your time, this is a complete waste of it, so please make room for someone else. So if you're still here, that means you're not in any of those three categories, and that's great. So let's go ahead and get started. to it, actually. However, all the leads that you're going to get are going to be completely worthless unless you have a predictable system in place to turn them into sales. That's just a fact of the matter. I mean, if you got 10,000 leads in your business this month, and then you didn't have any way of turning them into sales, there's no point in getting the lead. You're just wasting money, right? So as you're about to see through these case studies, getting leads is easy if you know how to do it. The real money is in the system that turns those leads into sales. And we'll talk about specifically customizing your approach to doing that today. So first of all, let's talk about lead generation, right? So there's 3 categories of lead generation I want to share with you today. And the first category is going to be, of course, getting leads online using the internet, right? So first of all, let's define what a lead is. My definition is that a lead is someone who expresses interest in your product or service by giving you their contact information along with their permission to send them information. That's all it is, right? So it's not that hard, really. So in terms of generating leads online, there's a lot of ways to do it. There's kind of 3 main ones, right? So the first one is search engine. There's search engine optimization, which is a complete mystery to me. I think it's kind of a shaky foundation to go through tackle on, metaphorically, because you can't control it. Well, maybe some people can, but you have to sort of be a rocket scientist or something to figure that out. And of course, there's also search engine advertising like Google AdWords, and that's a little more consistent and a little better. There's that social media, and there's like, social media where you make a million Facebook posts and try to get a lot of followers and stuff. And then there's the flip side of that, which is Facebook ads, where you actually run an advertising on social media. And then, of course, there's email marketing. And I don't mean email marketing in the sense of getting other people with email lists to promote you. I mean actually paid advertising using email. Just as an aside, if you sell business-to-business stuff, there's a really cool email marketing resource that you might want to check out called smartbrief.com. Don't go there now, write it down, and go there later. But it's neat. It's got all sorts of a directory of all kinds of email lists that you can advertise to, legitimately, of course, not spammy stuff or anything like that. So if we had to take all 3 of these and choose which one is sort of the most efficient right now, my opinion and my personal experience would tell you that Facebook is going to be really the big pillar right now of lead generation online. And if you're like a lot of my clients, especially if you're like a lot of people who have real businesses, when someone says Facebook, the initial reaction is going to be, hey, wait a minute, I thought Facebook was only for kids, right? There's no way my customers are on Facebook looking around. And that's normal. If you feel that way, it's normal. As a matter of fact, I used to think the same thing. And it used to actually be the case. Facebook was is the key phrase here. Pretty much for like people just messing around. But boy, has it ever changed very, very recently, and it keeps getting better and better. Check this out. So let's say, for example, that you wanted to sell something, and maybe it's a software service or consulting, or maybe even insurances maybe even insurance or business services or something, to high net worth CEOs and or business owners, right? And you wanted to test Facebook. So the natural inclination is to say, high net worth CEOs and business owners are not going to be messing around on Facebook, which makes a lot of sense. I don't really mess around on Facebook very much, with the exception of using it as an advertising platform. But we are not always our customers. So let me show you something really, really cool. Okay, so this is the Facebook Ads Manager thingy. That's a technical term, and this is where you can sort of go into Facebook and find audiences to show ads to. So when you first do that, you kind of have the entire world, and so I've entered the criteria there in the middle of the stage, in the middle of the screen rather, as, hey, just show me everybody in the United States. So the screen you're seeing right now is saying, okay, basically saying, Frank, if you want to advertise to every single person in the United States between the age of 18 and 65, you could advertise to 186 million people. And of course, that would not be the smartest thing for us to do, because we need to tighten our audience, right? We don't advertise to everybody. We want to find out who the perfect people are that are most likely to become customers, and then advertise to them. So let's say that our service that you and I are selling together is really best suited for men who own the businesses and are CEOs and et cetera, right? So that's our target. So one thing we can immediately do is we can say, okay, instead of everybody, let's select men. And then we can say, well,
Men under 20 or 30 probably aren't going to be a good match for what we're selling. Therefore, we can, this is the first red arrow there at the top, we can select an age range. So maybe we determine that our perfect customer is going to be someone between the age of 44 and 60, and then we can say, you know what, they're probably going to be married. So when you see that little red arrow, a couple mouse clicks, and you can say, let me just show the ad to people in the United States who are men who are between the ages of 44 and 60 who are married. All right? So now we're narrowing it down, but it's still too broad because nowhere does that say CEO or high net worth, right? Well, look at this. And it took me longer to take screenshots of this than it actually did to get what I'm about to show you. Okay, so then we can go down, so that second arrow there, or the first arrow rather, the one that's on the left, we can go into the category of financial, and we can select a net worth for these folks. And we can say, all right, well, I want to show this advertisement, married men, age 44 to 60 in the United States, who have a net worth that is over $200,000. So you see that sort of red square there at the top right? That's saying that I've selected anyone from 200 to 500, from 500 to 750, from 750 to a million, from a million to 2 million, and 2 million over. And their ages are 44 to 60, and they're male, and they're married. So now I'm really narrowing down this list, okay, which is pretty cool. But that's just people. We still want to find the CEOs. We want to find the people who didn't think we could find on Facebook, right? So we're going to find these high net worth actual CEOs and business owners. And the way to do it is very simple. And this wasn't always the case, by the way. We just click on the More Demographics button here. And it's going to have more drop-down menus. And it's going to allow us to choose their job titles. So I've entered under job titles for you, CEO, owner-operator, managing director, ownership, store owner of the store, and small business owner. And of course, I still have the net worth stuff down there at the bottom. So now we've selected people who are in the United States that are 44 to 60 years old, that are married men who are CEOs or owners or owner-operators of businesses with a net worth of more than $200,000, and we can change the net worth to be only over $2 million. It's really whatever you want to do, right? You see those little X's by the 200 to 500,000 and all those. We could just X those away and only leave the higher ones if we wanted to. So now you might be thinking, well, okay, but that's everybody, and I own a local business. All right. So let's say our business is we're selling what would be a good marketplace, I suppose. Probably estate planning services, right? A high net worth business owner usually has terrible estate planning, right? So this is the perfect thing for an estate planning firm to do. Now let's say we're right here in San Diego, California. Well, we wouldn't want to advertise to every single person in the country that meets this criteria because they probably need to come into the office and meet with us. So we can even drill it down even farther and find people who are local. So right here at the top of the page, I've said, only give me married men 44 to 60 that are CEOs or business owners that have a net worth of 200 to over 2 million that are in the San Diego area. So all these little towns you see here, because I live here, I realize that all of these technically are San Diego. And look, there's 1,100 people that meet my perfect client criteria right there, just by clicking some buttons in Facebook. And what's really cool is our ability to target people is getting better and better every day using social media. So I wanted to share that with you to sort of overcome the belief that, my people aren't going to be on Facebook, my business is different, etc. Chances are that they actually are. And if you want to look, it doesn't cost you anything to mess around with that little thing that I just showed you there. So it's pretty cool, right? It actually took me less time to find that stuff for you than it took me to take the screenshots and make the slides for you, which is pretty neat. And like I said, it's getting better and better every day. More people are using Facebook, and they're getting better at analyzing data. So that's pretty neat. So now that we know who we want to target on social media advertising, now let's talk about the actual ad. Okay, and so that's kind of our first pillar of doing this. And I want to talk to you about advertising on social media, not getting thousands of fans or any of that kind of stuff. We're not Justin Bieber. We're business owners, and we place ads. That's how we make money as business owners. All right. So there are lots of things that your ad can do. The first thing is it can offer a discount, such as, hey, sign up over here and get 50% off of whatever it is that we sell. That's pretty simple. You can offer a free account, and our for like banking or, sign up for a software service or something. Well, it doesn't have to be. Okay, and of course, the most classic and most common and often the most effective way of lead generation is to offer education or information. So let me show you an example of all three of these categories as they're used right now on social media. So the first thing you're going to see here is one that I found, and this is for a local laser hair removal center. These folks are in San Francisco, and I hope you can see this on the screen. It's full screen for me, so it might not show up clearly for you. So the ad copy here says, want a free laser hair removal consultation? For the month of October, get 50% off laser hair removal in San Francisco. Click here for info. So if the user, the person on Facebook, clicks that link, they can go and they can give their contact information to find out about how to save 50% off of laser hair removal. So that's a classic lead generation ad using a discount as well as actually a free consultation as the thing that gets the target audience to raise their hand. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Like anyone on here right now, if you have a business that benefits from that type of strategy, just go do that, and we'd be off to the races. Okay, so what about the second one, which is create a free account? That's a little different. We usually think about it as something for, financial services like banks or something like software, but it doesn't have to be. Here's one from Williams-Sonoma. This is probably targeting newly engaged women, which incidentally, you can use the exact same thing I showed you on Facebook to check a little box that says women, United States, age 25 to 35 who are newly engaged within the past 90 days. It actually lets you show the ad just to those people. How they know is beyond me. It's amazing, but they know, and it's cool. We don't need to know how they know. We can accept that they know and that it works. So this ad is from Williams-Sonoma, and it says register at the only store that will teach you how to use every gift that you get. So if you go there, you can create the free registry account, right, for your wedding and gift registry. So if you're a new bride and you like Williams-Sonoma stuff, which most of them do, that's going to be a pretty appealing ad. And of course, right there, Williams-Sonoma's going to get your contact information. They can follow up with you. The third one, of course, is just plain old information and education. So we usually think that is reserved for people who sell information, all right, which is a great business to be in. I'm in that business as well as professional services. It works well, but it doesn't have to be just for information. Here's an ad that's ultimate goal is to get people to give their contact information so they can be sold log homes or plans to build log homes. So it's a little bit off the beaten path. So the second phase of doing this is going to be the actual web page send. And this is where you need to sort of watch out for some pitfalls because the web page, the way it looks is critical. So usually we want to make the web page like all amazing and we want to send it to our home page. There's going to be 9 million things on there, and that's the wrong way to do it. The fact of the matter is lead generation web pages have one singular mission, that is to simply get the contact information, aka generate leads, right? So the primary purpose is to simply collect the contact info. And professional looking doesn't always win. So if you've ever considered doing this and you're like, man, my webpage needs to be beautiful, I'm about to show you some statistics that might alleviate some of that fear, I guess, that it's not going to be pretty enough. So you remember the laser hair clinic ad I showed you? This is the webpage for them. So if you want to go get some hair removed, you click on that ad I showed you, and here's where you would enter your information, and of course that clinic would follow up with you. Come in there and get a consultation and get rid of that unsightly unibrow or whatever it is. Not that there's anything wrong with unibrows. If you want to buy a log home or buy log home plans, remember the log home ad I showed you? This is their lead generation part right here. So I mean, this is one could argue not the prettiest in the world. All right. Now here's one, and this is, I can tell you exclusively that this is not the prettiest in the world because this is one that I've used. Now, this is just really pretty basic and non-fancy. It doesn't have a picture on there or anything, all right? But this has worked for me consistently. As a matter of fact, I've got statistics to show you for this particular design. And the last time I used this page, this was for a webinar that was in October, 57.69% of the people who went to that webpage ended up becoming leads. And that's a very, very high opt-in rate. It's good. And the page, we'll see if I can get back to it. That's the whole page. There's nothing else on the page. This is like a sentence, and then presented by Frank Kern, here's the time, and then there's another sentence. So if you can write 2 sentences, I think you might be okay. You know, they have to be the right sentence, of course. So anyway, let's talk about an actual case study. So I'm giving you some examples now of case study. This is interesting. So a few weeks ago, I was working with some business owners, and one of them was a consultant who actually did advertising for local businesses, you know, and he did stuff for them. And one of his clients is a thyroid doctor. And this, I think you guys in man, I can't remember. It's somewhere like in the Midwest. You know, it's not New York or Los Angeles. It's sort of a more rural type of location. So exactly where one would think this wouldn't really make sense, right? So I'm talking to the guy at my workshop. He's telling me the case study. He says, man, we're having great luck using Facebook ads for this doctor. He was gracious enough to share with me some of the results. So the ad they're using is this one. And this is, of course, targeted. They're using the same strategies I showed you, where they're targeting local people that have, you know, whatever the criteria is for being interested in thyroid stuff. And this is the ad. And when they click on the ad, they go to a page that looks like this. And you see that register now and yes, save my spot button. When they click that, there it is. This is what they see. And they can enter their name and email address, and they become, of course, a lead. And what's going on with this is when they register, what they're really registering for is a webinar, just like the one that you're on, but of course it doesn't talk about lead stuff, it talks about thyroid type of things. And I'm glad not to know specifically what that talks about. My thyroid, I think, is pretty good, right? And what happens is the prospect watches that webinar, they become educated about how to solve the thyroid problems, and then they're offered a consultation with the physician. So this ad is in testing right now, and the last data I got from the fellow I was talking to, he gave me permission to share it with everybody. He said that they had spent an enormous fortune of $147.12, and they got 67 local leads, which is fantastic. This is 67 local people with thyroid problems saying, yes, I need thyroid help, I'm intensely interested. I'm so interested that I will commit to a specific time to show up and watch a presentation. So this type of thing works for all kinds of stuff. And by the way, webinars are extremely effective. So if you have, as part of your sales process, the need to educate the prospect on exactly what it is you do prior to that prospect making a buying decision, webinars work incredibly well. And you don't have to sell from the webinar. At the end of the webinar, it's simply be to offer a free appointment or free consultation. In fact, we're going to be just simply giving stuff away at the end of this webinar. There's not even anything for sale here, but it's probably going to be a pretty effective webinar. So I'll talk about in a minute how to turn all of these leads into sales. I just wanted to show you really what's working well in social media and give you the real perspective on it as opposed to sort of the hypey stuff you might be hearing about. It is extremely effective, even down to the small local level. And yes, your customers probably actually are on Facebook, and you can probably get them pretty inexpensively. All right, so now let's talk about a dirty word here. And the dirty word is the mail. And whenever I do anything on the internet and talk about the mail online, people kind of go, oh, God, the mail, ooh, you know, I don't want to mess around with the mail. And it makes sense because direct mail almost never works unless you do it right. And if you've ever tried direct mail and it didn't work, first of all, congratulations on trying direct mail because you went out there and you tried something. We're never going to get any results if we don't try. And secondly, if it didn't work, it's probably because it wasn't done properly, and it's not your fault. No one showed you how to do it right. Here's the thing. If you do direct mail right, it really is one of the most effective lead-getting methods ever in the world. The amount of money spent on direct mail advertising eclipses that of the amount of money that's spent on internet advertising by something like 100 times. It's ridiculous because it really, really works, but you have to do it right. So let's talk about how to do it right, specifically from the perspective of lead generation. Okay, and I know I'm talking fast, probably, but you know what? We have a lot to cover. So let's keep on rolling. Okay, so here we go. There are basically 3 pillars to making direct mail work. All right, and if you get these 3 things, you're probably going to do pretty good. Number 1, it's the right list. So if you tried direct mail before and it didn't work, chances are you sent it to like everybody in a zip code or something, you know, That's what everybody does the first time they try, and your list wasn't targeted. Well, that's really easy to fix, right? Now, the second thing that you need to make direct mail work is you need to have the right offer. And even if you set it in the right list and it didn't work, it's probably because you were trying to sell something in the direct mail piece and you weren't actually using it as a lead generation technique. So that's like super common. Almost everybody does it first time. Don't worry about it if you tried it and it didn't work. It's normal. Okay. Now the third thing is going to be the right process. This is what nobody ever talks about. And the right process is simply, well, what happens after they respond? Okay, so let me give you a really, really cool case study, and I want you to steal everything that you can from this and deploy it, because I think you'll get pretty good results. And if you do, I think you'll be saying to yourself, you know what, these guys are pretty nice guys. I want to do more stuff with them. And maybe you become a customer. You never know. So let me, before I give you this case study, I'll give you the backstory. Okay, so we all worry about competition, and especially if you're a new business, and competition is real. And ideally, we're in a situation where there's little or no competition. And if you're in a situation where there's a lot of competition, it's of course harder, right? Well, check this out. So a while back, a new gym was opening in a hyper-competitive market. And what I mean by hyper-competitive is that, number one, the city is considered one of the fittest cities in the world, because everyone was doing fitness stuff there. And to make that point really clear, there were literally 7 other gyms within 2 blocks of the location. And these aren't like giant New York City blocks. These are very small town population, maybe 150,000 people city blocks, really tight little place, 7 other gyms within 2 blocks of the location. And the mission for the campaign that I'm talking about was to get as many local women to come and try the gym as possible. And the reason we wanted to come try the gym is, well, we figured, hey, if they try it and they like it, they'll become customers. That process works pretty good, by the way. I'll explain it to you in a little bit. So anyway, here's what happened. The owner bought a list of women who lived within 5 miles of the gym. And she used a company called InfoUSA, which you've probably heard of. I mean, you just go to infousa.com and you click on stuff and you can buy a list there. And it's really nothing particularly difficult about it, and it's relatively inexpensive. But you buy this list of women, they live within 5 miles of the gym. Okay, now remember the first pillar was we have to have the right list. Well, let's talk about how to do that. So in order to have the right list, you need to have to really identify the criteria of your perfect person. That becomes your list criteria. So in this case, for her gym was specifically for women. All right. Therefore, it had to be women on the list. Okay. The second thing is her gym wasn't cheap. So not only is she's got 7 other gyms near her, the gym was also pretty expensive. It was like around 8 times the cost of a normal gym. So that doesn't really sound that easy, right? So she said, okay, I want women in a single-family home. And the logic there was, if you're in a single-family home, that means you either own the home or you're renting an entire house, and that means you're probably going to be able to afford this, as opposed to if you lived in like a little apartment complex or something. But you know what? Then she took it one step further. She said, speaking of being able to afford this, I think I'll segment this out and only send it to people whose household income is over $100,000. Therefore, the cost of the gym is really not going to be that big of a deal. I mean, it's more expensive than other gyms, but it wouldn't be prohibitively expensive to someone whose household income was over $100,000. And then she also said the final thing, which is she wanted people with a history of buying weight loss and fitness products and services. And the nail in the coffin was, like I told you a minute ago, they lived close by to the gym. Why do we want them living close by to the gym? Because they're going to be more likely to go there. It wouldn't make sense for us to target people who live 50 miles away. They're not going to go, right? So think about this. It's a gym specifically for women, and the list is 100% women who live in a single-family home. Their household is over $100,000 a year. They have a history, a documented history of buying weight loss and fitness stuff, and they live nearby. You think we're going to have a hard time generating leads from this list? Of course not. Half the battle is sending it to the right people. Anyway, gym owners send a piece of direct mail to that list. And that direct mail piece was different. Okay, so it made what I like to call it, and here's a small, here is essentially what it said. It said, hey, listen, leave your credit card at home and just come into the gym and try it for free, and if you like it, you can become a customer. irresistible offers, no catch, no strings, nothing. So what they did not do, and what made this work, was the process. Okay, the process. So they didn't just send a letter and said, hey, here's our address, come on by. Instead, the letter asked them for their contact information in exchange for more information. Right? So, hey, if you want to come work out for free, respond to this letter, and we'll give you all the details, give you directions, help you out. So it generated a lead, so to speak. And the final thing is the letter, the direct mail piece, made it very easy and non-threatening, that's a key phrase there, for the prospect to respond. So let me show you some pictures of pieces of this direct mail package, all right? So, let's see. Did I click the right thing? There we go. Okay, so let's see. This is part of the letter itself, and the offer, and I don't know if you can see this, so I'll read some of it to you. The offer is basically, hey, come in here and work out for free. So the context was, hey, we're opening the gym soon. We've never done this before. We don't know if it's going to go over well. We'd like you to comply before we're officially open and make sure we got it right. And hey, if you like it, you can become a member. So it basically says, before we open the door to the general public, I'm inviting you and a select group of local ladies to come work out at, and I've blurred out the name for confidentiality and respect to the client, to come work out at Mystery Gym here for the entire month of June for free. And then as you can see right there, it says, please don't bring money. You won't be asked to give a credit card or sign up for any trial membership, anything like that. All I ask in return for your free June session is that you let me know if we got it right. For example, what do you think of the trainers, or the session's too easy, too hard, etc. And then, further down in the direct mail piece, it said, it just gave them 3 good reasons why they should come work out at the gym. Right? So, well, like I said, it's free, but not to the general public, to keep it under your hat. It's specifically for women like you. It's the only fitness center in town that's just for women, and the fact is, women need specific women-only exercises for the fastest weight loss. So it kind of told them why they should come in. It didn't just make the offer, it told them why they should come as well. And then, remember, the big thing was, make it easy and non-threatening for them to respond. Okay, that's a big deal. So if you see this is a little postcard thing that was included in the mail piece that says there's 3 ways to redeem this offer. Number 1 is you can text, and there's a little short code. So text it to this number, all right? Or, right down below that, it's right before number 2, it says text your name and email address, and it gave it a little number. Okay, so just that in and of itself. So let's stop there at text for a minute. What about this do you notice? You're right, it's not threatening. So the last thing we ever want to do when we're trying to get more information is talk to someone who's going to try to sell us something, right? In terms of us as prospects, we're going to be like, oh man, I don't want to talk to anyone who's trying to sell me something. It would be terrible. Well, if you send a text message, it's non-threatening. You don't have to worry about someone picking up the phone and trying to sell you something. Now, check out number 2. It says call. So it says call, and it gave the local number, and then it says leave your name and email address. See, there was no live person to answer the phone. They could just call, and they could leave the name and email address. The third thing was useless. It did not work. So you see where it says scan this QR code? There wasn't a good response from the QR code. But it didn't matter because the text and the risk-free call, risk-free meaning there's no one actually going to answer the phone and bother you, that worked incredibly well. So here's the numbers, all right? So the numbers show that over 250 leads were collected from this one mailer's note one time. So over 250 leads were collected, and the gym got the name of the women, got their email address, and it got their mobile number. Yeah, all that from a single text, by the way. It's pretty cool. And from voicemail calls, right? After that happened, and this is the key phrase, an automated system was used to follow up with them by email, by text, and even by voicemail broadcasts, which was amazing. So a totally automated system, followed up with them, gave them directions, made sure they came in. The net result of that, 196 women personally came to the gym. It was complete pandemonium in the good way, right? It was very, very successful marketing test. So here's why it worked. First of all, the mail was only sent to the perfect prospect, and the perfect money who were into fitness, right? The second reason why it worked was the offer. It was irresistible. The direct mail piece didn't say, hey, come in here and give us some money. It said, leave your credit card at home. Come work in for free, and you don't even have to come in, just text, and we'll send you all the information. So it was a very low barrier of response for that letter, right? It wasn't anything they had to do. There was no freak out factor there. There was nothing scary, you know. And finally, the prospect had multiple ways to respond. They could text and or call and leave a voicemail. The third way away with the little QR code thing, but not many people use that. So I wouldn't recommend it. I've never seen it really work well. The fourth thing that this works so well is that the follow-up is automated, and this is critical. Okay, if you get a bunch of leads in your business and you don't have an automated and predictable, consistent way to handle those leads, you're leaving it to chance, or you're leaving it to humans. So imagine if this gym owner, like all small businesses, when you first start out, it's not like there's a giant team of people there. Imagine the lady that opened this gym and she's trying to return 196 phone calls. It would have never worked. She'd have been overwhelmed, and she wouldn't have known what to say, and she wouldn't have said it the right way every single time. And even if she hired someone to do it, A, that would cost a lot of money, and B, you don't know if they're going to do it right, and C, if you're going to hire someone to follow over the 196 people that end up wanting to, come to your place of business, they come in over a couple of days, you're going to be overwhelmed. You're just going to miss some stuff. So a really big part of this was the way the follow-up happened. What happened with those leads? It was all automated, and I'll show you sort of how to reverse engineer a perfect automated system in a minute. All right, so that's how you do it with the mail. The mail works incredibly well, very, very, very well, if you follow that type of formula that I showed you. Okay, so the third thing I want to show you is how do you capture leads in-house, right? So what do you do if they're like already there? Let's say you have a lot of people. So I'll give you an example here. So think about this, right? Wouldn't it be awesome if you could get your best customers to come back more often? Like, that would be the greatest thing ever. And if you have a business right now and you don't have a system of doing this, then you're leaving a lot of, metaphorically speaking, free money on the table. And, it might sound hard, and maybe you've tried some things in the past, and the fact of the matter is it's actually pretty easy to do. And the magic formula, quote unquote, is to simply offer them something special in exchange for joining a preferred customer list. Because once they're on the preferred customer list, of course, you can send them communications and say, hey, come back into the business. We have some cool stuff just for preferred customers. And it gives you customers on demand. It's like repeat business on demand, right? So here's a classic thing you've probably seen before, or a variation of it. So right down the road from me, maybe around 5 or 6 miles down the road, there's this restaurant called Buca di Beppo. It's an Italian place. I think it's a chain. I have roughly, you see that picture of the pasta there at the top left? I have roughly 30 pounds of that pasta around my midsection at all times. It's really addictively good pasta. So if you go there, you see this at the table, right? And there's this thing, and you can enter your name and all that kind of stuff, and then you'll be on their e-club, right? And this might work, but you know what? If you've tried something like this and it hasn't worked, you're not alone, because really this could work about 100 times better. So before I tell you how to fix it, let me tell you what's wrong with it. So the first thing that's wrong with this is that's a lot of stuff. See the red arrow is pointing? So nobody wants to fill all this in. And even if they do, we're going to assume they have a pen. They probably won't. Yeah, maybe a pen should be at the table, but it probably isn't. And then even if it is, there's probably a lot of stuff at the table, like olive oil, and, not to say this is messy or anything, but you go out to eat, there's crap all over the table, there's condensation from your water glass or whatever, and this thing's going to get messed up and there's nothing to bear down on, and you're just going to say the heck with it, and you're not going to fill it out. But even if you do fill it out, right, well, then it's got to be given to a server or some administrative person in the business, and then they have to be able to, A, decipher your handwriting, and B, enter your handwriting and all that stuff into some sort of system to organize you, and C, then you have to have a way to actually follow up with people. So there's a lot of places this can break, and really one of the worst places is the human element. So even if everyone fills these things out, the business owner is probably going to give them to some person who would rather not be messing with it, and they're probably going to take these slips of paper and stick them under the sofa cushions in the back office and say that the thing just doesn't work and no one's filling out the forms. If you're a business owner, I think you might be able to relate to me, right? So in order to make something like this work, you have to make it easy, not only for the customer, but also easy for yourself. And I'll show you how to do it. The trick here is to just get the mobile number and let automation do the rest. As a matter of fact, it's completely unnecessary for you to have anything printed up like this in your store. All you really have to do is say the right thing to your customers. And this can work at a trade show booth. I'll give you a restaurant example, but I just want you to think of all the ways this could work. It could work at a trade show. It could work if you have a gas station. It could work, of course, at a restaurant. It could work if you have a salon. If you do any sort of speaking from the stage, it could work there. You could use this method really in all sorts of ways, not just in restaurants. As you could use every single case study I've shared with you today, right? So imagine now, all right, that you own the restaurant, and that this happens. So imagine that you own the restaurant, I'm eating there, and you want to get me on the preferred customer list. And you can either hand me one of these pieces of paper, hope I fill it out, hope that the person enters all the data into whatever system you're using, or you could train your server to go up to my table while they're taking the order and say, hey, you have your phone with you? Chances are I'm going to say yes. I mean, most people carry the dang phones with them. Most people don't even talk to each other at dinner. They just like look at their phones. You ever notice that? It's weird. Anyway, server would say, hey, do you have your phone with you? They're like, yeah, it's right here on the table. You know, and they'd say, great. You want a free dessert or a free drink tonight? Now, just in terms of scripting, you're not giving them a choice but to say yes. You're not saying, you want a free dessert or a free drink tonight? Instead, you're saying, you want a free dessert or a free drink tonight? And that's me. I'm going to be like, well, what do you mean? And the server's going to say, yeah, which one do you want? You can literally have a free dessert or a free drink tonight. Which would you prefer? I'll say, okay, I'll have a free dessert. I need to gain some weight, kill these rumors of anorexia. If anyone knows me, you can get this all casual there, you know? And so then the server would say, okay, great. Just text the word dessert to this number right now. And when you do, you're going to get a code. Just show me the code when I come back, and I'll bring you whatever dessert you want. Right? And then the server would just stand there and, like, help me do that. Say, okay, yes, here, try it. I want to make sure it works. I'll get you started. And so now I text my phone number, or I text the word dessert to a phone number, and then automation can do the rest of the work. It literally works like this. I mean, this stuff actually exists. I've deployed it not only in my own businesses of clients as well, across multiple industries, and it's incredible. So here's how this would look, right? So I'm at the table, and I text the word dessert. It's supposed to look like, you know, an iPhone text conversation here. I made these graphics myself, by the way, so that's why it looks so professional and fantastic. So I text the word dessert to the number of the waitress system. The automated system goes, coming right up. What's your name? I text back, Frank. The automated system instantly replies, hi, Frank, what's your email address? I text back, enter an email address. That's not my email address, by the way. All right, and then the system texts back and says, thanks, your code is, and it inserts whatever code there, and enjoy. Waitress comes back, I show her the code, I get a free dessert, and finally, those rumors of me having an eating disorder are put. Right? So I get free dessert. Now, what else happens? You, as the business owner, have me instantly added to a database that you can use all the time. You're not waiting for someone to enter the data into a database to do stuff. And all of that translates to, by the way, the fact that now you can email, text, and even send voicemail straight to me, the customer, at will, getting me to come back over and over again. So imagine now you've got all of your customers, all of your really good customers, in a database like this. As you can see, you didn't have to do anything really to get them in the database except be cool. Like it cost a restaurant whatever a slice of cake costs, or maybe I just wanted a Coca-Cola. That costs 5 cents at a fountain. But how many ways could you use that list? I'll give you some examples. Every Wednesday, you could have, like, 20% off Wednesday. Text all your favorite customers and say, hey, this week, this Wednesday, we've got 20% off all pasta, 20% off all seafood. You can text some special offers. Hey, the big game's on Saturday. All parties to 4 get 2 free pictures of beer when you mention this code. Everyone gets the same code. You don't care, 2 free pictures of beer. I mean, the cost on that is probably $2 or something. And parties greater than 4 are going to eat a lot of food. They're probably going to drink more beer, so you're going to turn a pretty good profit, right? It doesn't cost you anything to send the stuff out. If you have a hair salon, it's, hey, bring a friend, your friend gets a free manicure. Or I guess that wouldn't be a hair salon, it would be whatever we call manicure salons. I don't go there very often, so I don't really know what they're called. The possibilities are endless. If you're using this at a trade show, everyone who came to your booth at the trade show, you're sending them the free information that they requested. And then you can send them texts, emails, voice broadcasts to set up appointments or to try a demo or to do whatever it is that leads to the sale. Right? So it's unbelievably easy to do this. So as you can see, getting leads is really pretty simple. I know there's a lot of money in sort of making it look hard, so people can charge you a lot of money to show you how to do it, but it really isn't. The thing that makes all of this stuff work is to have a system that turns those leads into customers and then turns those customers into repeat customers, and a system that does so consistently. All right, so wait a minute. Okay, so this is the part, of course,
right? If this is a typical webinar, this would be the part where I'm supposed to sell you on some system that solves all of your marketing problems, right? So I would say something like that. Today, if you act now, you can have the amazing Super System 2000, and that's going to do everything for you instantly, and you never have to do any work, and it's incredible, right? Well, we're not going to do that. In fact, I actually have some bad news for you. There is no such thing as that type of system, all right? It simply does not exist. Now, before that sounds too weird, coming from a webinar on behalf of an incredible company that sells automation equipment, I want to give you the good news, okay? Of course, you can turn leads into sales with automation. And of course, you can have a system, and it's pretty easy to deploy a system, and it's pretty easy to make the system work. But here's the point I'm getting at. There is no one-size-fits-all way to do this. So if anyone says, hey, I'm going to give you this magic system that's just going to work, either they're just amazing and they're like the smartest person in the world, I've never seen a one-size-fits-all thing that works, or they're just trying to sell you something. And the reason why is because your business is unique. All right? I mean, how can I possibly diagnose a system for you without knowing a lot about your business? That would be negligent of me to do so. I'll give you examples, right? So your business, as you know, is unique. So I don't have to convince you of this, but think about it. You might need to see customers in person to make a sale, right? Or maybe you make your sales on the phone, okay? Or maybe you're going to use webinars like that doctor. Or maybe you want to sell stuff over the internet, right? Well, regardless of which of those you're using, the answer to that is you're going to have a customized system. What I mean by that is the system that gets people to request a phone call from you is completely different from a system that's going to get people to show up at your store or in your office, and that system is going to be completely different from what you would use if you're selling things over the web. And hey, what if you're doing all three? Well, that's a completely different system. So in order for all the stuff I'm sharing with you to really work, you need a custom growth plan, right? You need someone to really understand exactly what your business does, how your sales process works, and what you're trying to accomplish, and then just advise you on, okay, with all of these factors in mind, here is what you should do. Here is what your system should really look like. And I'd like to offer that to you today for free. There's no charge, like I promise you. There's nothing for sale on this webinar. So we just want to give this growth plan to you, a custom growth plan to you, completely free. So here's how this works, right? What's happened is we here at Infusionsoft, I don't actually work at Infusionsoft, I just say we because we work together. I'm an Infusionsoft customer, possibly just like you. You might be an Infusionsoft customer as well. I have been since 2008, very happy customer. Anyway, the proverbial we, really Infusionsoft, have set aside some time to help you come up with a perfect plan to capture leads automatically and turn those leads into customers consistently. And I promise you, that's more than just, hey, press a button and do a couple of things, right? It's not easy, it's not rocket science, but there is no magic button, and we're really willing to put in the work and help you figure out the best course for you. For example, you might want to use webinars like the doctor, like a webinar like this one. You might want to advertise on Facebook. You might want to advertise discounts on Facebook to get them in the door and not webinars. Or maybe you want to send out direct mail like the gym did. Or maybe you have sales reps and you need a system for the sales reps to make appointments so that they can close more sales. Whatever it is, right? Whatever your process is, we've set aside some time to help you perfect that process and really isolate what works. And then we want to help you automate everything so that it works consistently even when you're not there. Okay, so here specifically is how we're going to help you create that plan for free, and here specifically is how you can even start thinking of your own plan, regardless of whether or not you do stuff with us. So remember, I promised I'd show you how to create a sales system. Well, here's how to create it, and if you like what you see, we'll be happy to sort of guide you through this process as well at no cost. So here is a lovely blank piece of slides here. It looks nice. Now, before we go any further, I want to tell you, I did these animations, and I did this artwork myself personally, and it is pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing artwork, and I don't suggest you try this at home. It took me years to get this good. That, of course, is sarcastic. Look at this. What we have here is a green square. So, at the surface level, okay, it gets a lot deeper, so we start at like the 30,000 feet. At the surface level, your business is really made up kind of two things. The first thing, which is green square number one, is going to be your core offer. And that's the thing you sell. That's the big thing, right? So if we have a Subway franchise, then our big thing is sub sandwiches.
That's the core offer. If we're a hair salon and we specialize in, I don't know, I go to a barber, it's $20. If we specialize in perms and stuff, then that's our core offer. We're good color specialists. I think that's what hair salons do, right? Whatever it is, you're going to know your core offer. You might have multiple core offers. If you need some help figuring out which one works best, we'll be happy to help you. But once you have the core offer, the other component at the $30,000 level is to say, okay, well, who's the best target market for this core offer, right? So you remember the gym? It was, hey, the core offer was, come work out of this gym specifically for women. It's tailored just for women. Everything's women-oriented. Women's bodies are different in terms of what it takes to sort of make everything work and all of that stuff. And so naturally, the target market was local women 5 miles away from the gym who had a bunch of money who were into fitness. And I'll tell you right now, chances are that your target marketing is off because and it's nothing to do with you. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with what you're doing. I'm just a dude talking to a whole lot of people on a webinar right now. So clearly, I can't make that assessment. But if you're like most business owners that I've worked with and I've helped, usually there hasn't been a lot of thought put into who the target market really is. And usually, the business is spending a lot more money than necessary, marketing to a lot more people than necessary. And the first thing that we can help them do is to narrow that target market, spend less money, and actually get more sales from less money on advertising, which is cool. So these are the two main components, and the thing that we need is something called a value proposition. And the value proposition is simply the way that we present the core offer in a way that's magnetic to that target market. We just want to draw the target market towards your service through messaging, right? So we say, what do we got? Who's it for? And then you come up with, what do you say to make them interested? So that's like the 30,000 foot view, but it gets a little deeper, right? So now that we have the core offer, the other side of that is, hey, once we get them interested, what's the sales process that you use to actually turn them into customers? For example, is it a webinar like this? Is it a phone call where they request an appointment? Or is it an outbound thing? Or do they come into your office for a consultation? Or do they go to a sales line online? Or do they get something in the mail and then call the call center and place an order? Like, whatever it is, you need to know. And that needs to really be clearly defined. And the reason why is because you need to develop an automated system that now takes those people who have raised their hand and said, yes, I'm interested in the core offer, who've been magnetically drawn to it, and you need an automated sales system to sort of put them through that sales process. So regardless of how it's done, like let's say you're doing something you think, well, how could this be automated? For example, if your sales process is they come see you, like maybe a financial planner or something, they come see you in your office and you do some stuff for them and then they either become clients or they don't. Well, believe it or not, a lot of that can be automated. The whole thing to get them to raise their hand and say that they're interested can be automated. Getting them to schedule an appointment can be automated. Sending them reminders about the appointment can be automated. Sending them directions to your office can be automated. Sending them cool stuff to make them like you before they even get there can be automated. The act of following up with the people who came to see you but did not become customers for whatever reason can be automated. The act of asking customers for referrals can be automated, and so on and so forth. But we can't do anything until we know what these building blocks are, right? So that's what happens when we dive a little bit deeper. But there's more depth to this, right? So this is us really reverse engineering right now. So now that we know what the sales process is, and we know what the core offer is, we can sort of begin to create a system that takes people from the core offer, being, responding to the core offer, that sort of automates as much of that sales process as possible and makes it work better. Okay, so now look at what we've got here. We have your target market. Okay, so you want to figure out who that is. It's a big deal, by the way. Don't overlook that. Chances are you might be too broad. If I had to say the number one thing that people are advertising and trying to go after too many people, but in reality it's going to be, the 45-year-old married guy who's the CEO of a $1 to $5 million business, and he lives 15 miles from your office. Like, as soon as you know that, you can laser focus in on it. Okay, so we start with your target market, and then use the value proposition. We'll walk you through how to do this. We're happy to, no charge, of course. And we create some messaging that presents that core offer. And they say, yeah, that's pretty interesting. And then from there, we have an automated sales system that takes them through your sales process, whatever it may be. So that's the beginning But now there's one more step, and that step is a lead magnet. And a lead magnet is the thing that attracts your target market, right? It gets them to raise their hand and say, I'm interested. And the lead magnet could be any number of things. It could actually be information. This webinar, as I'm sure you know, is a lead magnet, right? So it could be a webinar. It could be a free report. It could be a free DVD. It could be a free book. It doesn't have to be information. It could be come in for a discount. It could be create a free account like that Williams-Sonoma that I showed you. It could be anything, right? And the only way to really figure it out is to know all of these little green blocks here, all these other three, and then find out what your sales process and say, okay, what's the best thing that I could use to induce the perfect person to come into that sales process? And that's how you find out what your lead magnet should be. And once you have it, then you can deploy it, right? And the way you deploy it is up to you. You might do online advertising, like I showed you with Facebook. That's a drop in the bucket, by the way. But I didn't want to give you 10 million things today. I wanted to give you 3 big things you could use right now. So you could do online. Facebook stuff I showed you probably works for just about everybody. You could use the mail. The mail probably will work for just about everybody if you do your targeting right and get your offer right, and of course you respond properly through automation. You can use print media. I successfully run ads in magazines, newspapers, and all of them were lead generation ads, right? You could use the radio. A lot of friends of mine actually run ads on the radio to get people to call or text a number or go to a website and become leads, and then an automated system drives those leads through a sales process. It could be on a number of things, right? It could even be trade shows. And there's a way to do trade shows significantly better than what you might be used to. And we're happy, if you're doing trade shows, we're happy to walk you through what's been working for some of our other customers, see what you might be able to model and what might benefit. The bottom line is once you have these 4 green blocks sort of mapped out and you know what each little piece is going to look like and what the value proposition is and what you're trying to make an automated system do, then all 4 of those really comprise a fully automated system. And I'm telling you, a fully automated system really is kind of the holy grail. Otherwise, you're trying to do it yourself and you get overwhelmed, you're depending on staff, and one person's doing one thing, the other person's doing the other thing, and you're in like management mode, and we probably didn't get into business to be in management mode, we'd rather sell stuff, right? So what we're offering to you here is to really help you map all of this stuff out and give you a specific plan that's tailor-made to your business, because your business really is unique. Your market is unique. Your product is unique. Your sales process is unique. And you're probably wondering, well, this sounds pretty good, but why in the world would you do it for free? You're waiting for the cash, right? Well, you should be waiting for the cash. It's normal. And you should be skeptical, by the way, not necessarily of us, but as a general rule, because people in business, people in advertising, it's a pretty rough world out there. So how about we drop all pretenses and I give you just the straightforward reason why we're doing this. There we go. It's simple. We think that once you see what a customized sales and marketing system can do for your business, you're going to say, you know what, that's pretty cool. Okay, now all of this stuff really makes sense, and you're going to want to put it to work for you. And a certain percentage of people that we do this for are going to say, you know what, I want to use Infusionsoft to power this system that you've mapped out for me. And a certain percentage of people won't, and that's okay. But for the ones who do, that's why we're doing this, right? And we figured, you know what, listen, we got 2 choices. We could just sit here and talk about how great Infusionsoft is and get you all hyped up and try to, use traditional sales techniques, and that might work, and it usually actually does work pretty well. But when I was working with Infusionsoft in the capacity of a customer and as a consultant for them, I said, it really works well. But instead of trying to convince people with something, what if we just do stuff for them for free and show them how everything works, specifically tailored to their business, show you how it can help you, and then let the value of that experience speak for itself. So, in the interest of full transparency, that is our hidden motive. That's why we're offering to do all of this for you for free. Because some of the people, we know that not all of the people who take us up on this free offer are going to say, you know what, okay, now this makes sense to me. I think I'm going to test out using Infusionsoft, which is pretty inexpensive anyway, as you know, right? So, there you go. That's all of our cards on the table. With that said, there really is one more catch, and this one is a pretty serious one. So here it is. We really can't help everybody. Infusionsoft isn't a magic pill. We are not, wizards that can make miracles work. And in order for us to do this for you, and to be of really any number one is you've actually got a business. So if you're a startup and you know what you're doing and you're really ready to get going, then yeah, this could benefit you. But if you kind of like have no idea what you want to be when you grow up, and I know that sounds mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but you know what I mean, if you're just sort of browsing around and just collecting information about one day maybe starting a business, this isn't going to do you any good. So I'm urging you to save your time. The second piece of criteria that you have to meet is that you're not selling anything bad. So we refuse to do this for anyone who's selling anything shady. If you're like selling, the world's greatest collection of Nazi regalia or something, we are not going to help you. Now, if you're involved in pornography or something, we're not going to help you. If you're selling get-rich-quick stuff, we simply will not help you. We don't want anything to do with that. And chances are, you're probably not anyway, but we do want to sort of, in the event that you're in anything like that, don't waste your time. We're not going to help you. And finally, you got to be prepared to implement what we give you. And whether you work with us or not is irrelevant. Now, of course, we would if you work with us. But if you decide not to, that's okay as well, as long as you realize that all of the work we're going to do for you will be completely useless if you don't actually implement it. We're happy to help you, but if you don't want to, that's fine. But as long as you're really prepared to implement something, then you're going to like that. So those are our three big things you got to meet. You're probably going to meet all of those if you're here, right? So if you meet these three simple criteria, here's what I want you to do next. Go to infusionsoft.com/yes. I don't know if we can make a little link appear on the webinar thing. This platform here is kind of new to me. But in the event we can't, just type in a separate browser one more second, infusionsoft.com/yes. And when you go there, here's what's going to happen. Number one, we don't want your money. So there's not like a deposit or anything. We're not actually selling you anything today. This really is a free service. So the first thing we're going to do is when you get to that page, we're just going to get your information, and we're going to find out some stuff that will help us prepare to help you. And very basic information like what kind of business do you have? What are you looking to accomplish? What do you need help with? And once we have that information, we will look it over and say, okay, we're going to formulate a little bit of a plan, so we won't take up too much of your time with a lot of questions that are unnecessary, and then we'll contact you to set up an appointment. And when we have that appointment, then we will go through, and you can ask us anything in the world that you want, of course, and we'll ask you some clarifying questions about the information you gave us, and we'll give you a growth plan. And we'll map out everything that we think you should do to get leads and turn them into sales specifically for your business. And I really can't stress that enough. This is custom. And in the event you ever do this anywhere, it really needs to be custom in order for it to work, because your business is unique. As you know, we can't make a blanket statement and say all businesses are the same. It's like saying all people are the same. It's just not right. So we will give you this custom growth plan. And there's a couple things that can happen once you get the plan. Number one, you might like it, and you might say, hey, this is great. Why don't y'all help us? And I'd love to become an Infusionsoft customer. And if that's the case, then we'll be very happy, of course, and we'll help you set everything up, and we'll sort of be your partners in all of this. And conversely, I suppose, if you want to do it all by yourself and you don't want to use Infusionsoft, that's okay as well. We will not hassle you and call you 1,000 times, and you're not going to have to hide, and say, gosh, I wish these guys would stop calling us. This is genuinely a free service. We think that the value of what you're going to experience will speak for itself for some. And for others, you might not want it. And either way is totally fine, right? So in the spirit of community and in the spirit of being champions of small business and entrepreneurs, we make this free offer to you, really out of goodwill, and some folks become customers in some way. So if that sounds good to you, and you want our help and really finding out what the best sales process is and how to maximize what you have going, and then find out how to really create the messaging around your core offer and how to create an automated system that takes people from yes, I'm interested all the way through your sales process and removes any room for error, and then find out how to follow up with the people who didn't do what you wanted them to do and re-engage them, and then you want some help coming up with ideas of the best lead magnets and how to advertise those lead magnets and how to automate everything. That's what we're offering you, 100% free. So if it sounds good, go to infusionsoft.com/yes, or maybe, I can't see it right now, but maybe if there's a little button on this webinar video somewhere, maybe you can press that as well. If you don't see one, go ahead and go to infusionsoft.com/yes now in another browser, and we can fill in the stuff while we're doing Q&A. So speaking of Q&A, one sort of cautionary word of warning, and that is this is incredibly limited, only because of the amount of time that it takes. So, as you know, there are a lot of people here. You might actually be able to see on a control panel how many guests we have. This is a very easy offer to say yes to because it's free, good stuff for you. And with that said, it really is going to be on a first-come, first-served basis. We can't do thousands of these because we're not staffed to. So first come, first serve. If you like what you've seen today and you want to try some of this stuff out, or maybe even brainstorm some other ideas, totally fine. Go to Infusionsoft.com/yes. We'll give you a custom growth plan. If you like it and want to use Infusionsoft, great. We'll help you do that. If you want to do it by yourself, great. We'll be happy to have help.